Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for ICONversations. The ICON program is designed to celebrate our company's top producers. These agents have gone far above capping status and are now earning back their company dollar with various stock grants, which are earned by reaching exceptional milestones. On the panel today, we have from Massachusetts, Leo Jesus. From Georgia, we have Mike Price. From all the way from Canada in Ontario, we have Lucho Chirinos. From Indiana, we have Jeff Cavender. And from California, we have Christina Kameniastanu. Christina, take it away.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? All right.
Absolutely.
So icons, let's introduce ourselves by how many years in the business and how many average transactions do you do per year? Jeff, can we start with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Jeff Cavender from Indiana. 7 years in the business, working on about a year and a half here at EXPCon, two-time Icon agent here. I typically do about anywhere from 60 to 80 transactions myself a year. My team is pushing 200. I think last year we did 212 transactions. This year should be more.
Whoa, that's phenomenal. Lucho?
Hi, how are you? I'm Lucho from Toronto, Ontario, in Canada. I've been doing real estate for about 18 years, with ESP only for 1 year and a little bit. And thanks God, I'm already the icon. I'm working maybe two more transactions and getting the second time icon now. Yeah, how many transactions a year? Maybe around 40 to 45. I work with my wife. She's also a realtor, and we are kind of a mini team.
Awesome. Love the accent, by the way. Mike?
Thank you. I am from Peru.
Awesome. Love it. Mike, how many years in the business and average transactions per year?
Hey there, everybody. Mike Price, Atlanta, Georgia. I live in Alpharetta, which is north of Atlanta, and I've been in the business full time for 14 years. And I personally do 45 to 55 transactions a year myself. And my team, we average, around 100. We're going to land right at 100 again this year. So 100 transactions for the team.
Awesome. Leo?
Hi, everyone. My name is Leo Jesus. I am in Massachusetts in the greater Boston area, and I work with my wife. We have a domestic team. We've been doing real estate for 7 years, and we have averaged about 30 to 40 transactions since we've been in EXP. This year, though, we have been closing the year with 50 transactions. And all of that is due to all the tools and things we get here. So glad to be here.
Awesome. And they say it's a slow year in real estate, right? Not for us. All right. A question for the icons. Name one thing that you can contribute to your success to becoming an icon agent. Can we start off with Jeff and then Lucio, Mike, and Leo?
Yeah, I think becoming an icon agent, it takes around, I think, 20 transactions, 25, maybe depending on where you're at. And where I've noticed success is being authentic to myself. I don't try to be a certain way for a certain client and be a certain way for another. You be yourself and you can relate to every level of client, but when you try to put on a fake persona, that really can get called out. You don't have the best experiences, and your business builds off a referral. So when you can be authentic and have a great relationship, you can get better referrals that way. And then really in the first 2 years of real estate, it was grinding nonstop. I think that's a big part of why a lot of us get really successful is we put in the 16-hour days, which a lot of people come to real estate not to do that. But I think in the beginning, it's beneficial if you're able to grind at that kind of a level.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that. Be real, be authentic. Lucho, what can you add to that?
Hi. Okay. Yeah, for me, actually, I agree with him. Something that I will add is that the customer service, provide the best customer service that we can, because only that way, like, our clients are going to be happy. Therefore, they are going to be loyal to us, and give more referrals to us. That's the way to keep it up. And like, I try to always focus on providing the best service, but not only the service, but the best advice to the client.
Awesome. Whether it gets you the transaction or not, providing the best advice to the client. That is key right there.
Exactly.
Mike?
So I would say, one of the big things that has helped me become Icon is kind of what Jeff was talking about. I was always doing a fairly good amount of transactions, and even with my team before we came to EXP. But once we came to EXP, the collaboration is unbelievable. It's just absolutely unbelievable. So to be able to collaborate with like a guy named Dan Beer, who was on the show just before us, he's in my sponsor, and just to be able to be around the best of best and learn from them is the best thing. And then another thing that Jeff mentioned is being able to grind. In the beginning, you've got to grind it out for a little while. You got to really just roll up your sleeves and get to work. And there's going to be some nights and weekends, and 40 and 50-hour, 60-hour weeks sometimes. But I think that's critical to success. So I would say to wrap it all up, getting out there and really putting the work in, the time, and also reaching out to those that are doing more than you in this company.
Awesome. Leo, name one thing you can contribute to your success to becoming an Icon agent.
Okay, for me, it's kind of tough when everybody already talked about important things, but there is one thing that I think we can all agree. Community. It's knowing a way to find your community or to identify your community, because sometimes I'm not talking about the city community. I'm talking about what are who are the clients that identify with your style. As you can all see and hear on our accents, we are all from different parts of the world, and we are all doing the same thing, but we can't serve everybody. So for me, it's focusing on eliminating distractions and just identifying my client avatar and provide the best quality experience that we can for that client. That has been the foundation of our success right now.
I love that. Isn't that a famous saying, or find your tribe?
Yep.
I think that is key right there. I agree with everyone and what everyone has said. And I just realized I did not introduce myself. Christina Caminestano, 23 years in the business. I have been with Century 21, Keller Williams, and now with EXP for the last 3 years, and three-time Icon. I average about 40 to 50 transactions per year. And I agree with what everyone had said. Becoming an Icon is yes, being real and giving the absolute best advice to the client, regardless of whether you get the deal or not. I have not persuaded, but advised clients not to sell a property because it was truly not in their best interest. And I think people can see through that. And that's why I can say that repeat and referral is a huge part of my business. And that is due to doing what's in the client's best interest and providing the absolute best advice. Moving on to the next question. Leads are a big part of our business. How are you tracking your leads and keeping in contact with them? Who would like to start? Now let's start with Leo.
All right. This I'm gonna answer this in two steps. So for me, for us, we track our leads organically, just through social media, specifically um, Instagram, and WhatsApp. And we do this because by prioritizing these two channels, it simplifies the communication. It's more direct to the clients. And I say this not to say that these are the best tools. I say this piggybacking on the first answer, which was find your community. We discovered that our community was more around those specific tools right there. So it made no sense for me to be paying Facebook ads if my clients were not there. So once I identify my clients, then it was easier for me to identify what tools to use. So the second step for this question is, as a new agent, if there is anybody on the audience, um, use the tools that best communicate to your clients. If it is Facebook, go there. But if it is going to events in your community because your clients are in that particular location, go there. Um, Basically, don't chase the shiny object because that will run your time to so many different directions that you won't find the time to actually give a good experience to the client.
I love that. Meet them, find them where they're at. Mike, how are you tracking your leads and keeping in contact with them?
So we track all of our leads. We use a CRM called Follow Up Boss, which we've been using for about 10 years. And every lead that we receive from whatever source goes in a Follow Up Boss, and we tag it with a certain label. Like if it's our past client sphere of influence, we have past clients, then sphere of influence, but we merge them all together because we have so many of them now. We have over 1,200, but we tag them and then we put them in on a follow-up plan or some sort of campaign. And we have future follow-ups, meaning we put them in a smart list, and we just, it just like automatic for it. We set up the smart list and it just automatically sets up a follow-up. So I never have to really think about it. The follow-up cadence is, or what we do there is we'll call, we'll text, we'll email, and we do a lot of outreach. We do a lot of client events and little events, and we do big events. And so we're constantly reaching out to them that way. But as far as just, all of the leads that come in, we all go through Follow Up Boss, and we just have a system where we just follow up periodically based on the lead, if they're 30 days, 60 days, 90 days out, whichever. And it's the CRM does all the work for us. We just had to get it set up. So I would say, to wrap that up, we have a very detailed system of follow-up and are very consistent with it using our Follow Up Boss app.
That's amazing. I recently signed up for Follow Up Boss. However, I am not using it to its fullest, but it is super user-friendly. Lucho?
Yes, we use something called HubSpot to keep track of the leads. Mostly our campaigns are to social media like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, etc. We keep track on the HubSpot, and we actually have a virtual assistant in Venezuela because we need sometimes leads in Spanish, and we have a virtual assistant in Venezuela who actually does the calls. We call her an appointment setter. So then she kind of start the conversation, see if it is really a good lead, and then if it is, then set up a call with us to continue and to follow up. Yeah, that's the way that we are doing.
Awesome. Jeff?
Yeah. So like the famous saying, whatever CRM you actually use is going to be the best one. We use KV since EXP is partnered with them, and we actually found a specialist on KV that we hired him, and he came in and set our KV up like campaigns, and then we're into his weekly trainings. We can schedule time with him to go in and, if we have issues going on or if we want to change things. So we use KV with a grading system, and we use like a star rating on there. So hot leads, pre-approved buyers, they're going to be 5 stars. somebody that's maybe a 6 month to a year would be a 3-star. But that way, when you're doing your daily prospecting, you can, sort your buyers by stars, and that's where you start at, is calling your 5-star people first, and so on and so on. We also I'm big into spreadsheets because I just always used Excel sheets or Google Sheets before. So we track like all of our team numbers and like our buyers and everything through these sheets that you can share them with the whole team as well. So our team can constantly go on to there and know how many listings we have as a team, what's our year-to-date closed volume, where are the most of our leads coming from, all that.
That's awesome. I do like KV Core. I use it for open house. The sign in is absolutely easy. And I find that people are more likely to sign in if I basically welcome to the open house, a sign in, please, if I just hand them the iPad versus them having to write their names down. And the other thing I use KV Core is the property boosts, especially for open houses. And I do typically get quite a few leads just from doing those things. And then they get not on an automated drip where I don't really have to worry too much about them. All right. Those are all great tips. Next question. The real estate market is ever changing. We are all from different markets. How have you navigated the changes in the market over the past 12 months? Jeff, can we start with you?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, our commission has actually gone up. We were in a community that is typically a 60-40 split, like seller to buyer side. So for us, it was either like a 3%, 2%, or 3.6, 2.4. So now that the changes happened with NAR, we've been getting buyer agency agreements signed at 3% or 3.5%, and getting our buy side commission going up. And then another thing that we've done is, instead of when you go to a listing and you say, hey, I'm when they say, what do you charge? And we would normally say 6%, 5, 7, whatever it was you charge. Now we can say, hey, I charge 3.5%. And that sounds a lot better than 6. And then we do reiterate that all the buyer broker commission is negotiable, because you don't want to just say, hey, I'm going to charge you 3.5%, and then knowingly that, sorry, I got a call come in. I don't know if that took me off of here or not, but knowing that 2 or 3% is going to come in on the buyer side. So I sit there and I say, I'm going to charge 3.5%. Typically in our area, buyers come asking 2%, but it's completely negotiable, and we will compare all offers. So it's really actually benefited us, which I knew right away once I sat with Leo and we broke down what was all coming through the NAR settlement. I instantly said, hey, we're going to make a lot more money this way. And the team initially started to freak out, but once I sat down with them and explained everything to them, we were all on the same page and had no obstacles or speed bumps going through this.
That's amazing. I totally agree with you. I'm primarily a listing agent, and I find it so much easier to get the listing signed. Hey, I charge 3 or 2.5 or whatever I choose to charge on that particular listing. And I do give them heads up. Most likely the buyer's agent, even though they have a buyer broker agreement with their realtor, they will ask you to pay their part of the commission, and typically that would be between 2 and 3%, but we can negotiate that when the time comes and you can decide. So I do like it a lot better, honestly. Lucio, you're in Canada, so you guys are not dealing with the same thing, right?
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say. We don't have NAR here, but we have so many changes in the interest rates and restrictions from the government sometimes. Like there is a ban for foreign buyers. If you don't have permanent residence, you cannot buy a property here. So it's kind of like keeping it local. And the rates went up last year. The market went down. Then the government reduced the rate a little bit in June. Nothing happened. The same thing, slow. Then finally, the last cut was like about 2 weeks ago, and finally the market is getting active again. Now we are seeing bidding wars again. So what we did during the slow times is like, well, of course, just working with whatever was available, like reducing our commissions to get the clients. It's not like I was, no, sorry, I only charge you, I only take you if you pay me full commission. No, sorry, like at this time, we have to innovate. We have to, it's better to make something than nothing. You know what I mean? And especially because other realtors were also reducing a lot, so we have to compete with them. So that was regarding on the sales and purchases. Well, we start like becoming agents that don't only go to the market where you live, but also I was opening to more markets, even if they were farther away, because I always say I go wherever there is business. If there is somebody calling me to sell a property 2 hours from here, I go, no problem, because at the end of the day, it's a sale, it's a purchase, no? Of course, and then also, even I know that some icon agents might not want to do leases. You know what? During the slow time, I was also doing leases, because at the end, I see a tenant as a potential buyer, and it happened to me a lot. That few times the tenants end up calling me back and buying with me, or if they don't buy, they at least are another source of referrals from people that I don't know, that they are in their network, and they were passed on to me. That was regarding that. And then another thing that we also do during the slow time, we were starting to offer pre-construction in Florida. We are part of a community, a big Latino community in Florida of Latino agents from EXP that is called C5. And this C5, they mostly kind of focus on pre-construction. So we started offering to our clients, okay, we can also sell you pre-construction in Miami, Orlando, and those type of things. And of course, being helped by those realtors from C5, ESP in Florida. And that was another source of income for us that helped us during the slow times. Yeah, like diversifying, in other words, diversifying, like going farther away to other cities, selling pre-construction not only here, but also in other countries. Thanks to ESP, we can do that. We start offering not only Florida, we actually now offer also Punta Cana, Tulum, Cancun, and next year we are going to expand to the Sand Coast in Spain. So yeah, that's another way to keep it up.
Wow, that's amazing. So let me a quick question, make sure we all understand. So you within these other areas like Florida and Mexico, those are referral only, correct?
Yeah, because we don't have the license over there. So if, let's say, for example, I have a client who wants to purchase something in Punta Cana, I have an ESP partner in Punta Cana that is going to do the showing, the everything, and then we just do 50-50, 60-40, whatever is the agreement on the referral. Yeah. It's not like a full referral, like, okay, I give you only 30% or 25%. No, we manage better referral fees. Like with Florida, we have some partners that we can do 50-50. And even sometimes there are some builders in Florida that if you kind of register on something called International Real Estate Associate, and then you can do the deal directly with them without needing another realtor from Florida.
Wow, that's amazing. I need to look into that. Yeah, I love what you said. Some money or is better than no money. I agree 1000%. I myself also will do leases. I won't chase them, but if they come to me, especially if they're past clients that I've sold the property to, that's maintaining that relationship. I typically will bring another partner agent to help me with it. But I think that's key, as long
Exactly.
as, yeah, some money is better than no money.
Yeah. So it's not that I'm gonna do lead campaigns for leases, of course not.
Right.
But if they're being referred by former clients, so they no, for sure, I go there. And also, you know what? It was good during the slow times to at least keep me busy and stay kind of not to worry about, okay, what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Mike?
So we're navigating pretty much the same as we have. I've had a team for a long time, and we've been doing buyer brokerage agreements in Georgia for, probably almost 14 years. And so we've always, put our compensation in for the buyer's brokerage agreement for what we were going to charge. And as far as on the listing side, we are able to get more money in a lot of cases. We're getting the 3% almost every single time. It was pretty competitive in the past, where we were having to go to 2.5 and sometimes 2. But with the new changes, like Jeff said a minute ago, we're going in and saying, here's our value proposition, here's my value proposition, here's why you're going to hire me or why you should hire me, and here's my fee. And it's anywhere from usually 3%, sometimes 3.25%. It just depends. And there's never been an obligation for the seller to pay a buyer's agent's commission. It's always been, this looks like that because before the change, it was, hey, I'm going to charge 6% and I'll give 3% to the other side. Now the conversation is, listen, the buyer's agents are doing the same thing I'm doing with you. They're meeting with their buyers now, and they're doing a full consultation and securing their fee on the front end. And it's very transparent now. And so whatever you decide to offer, you can offer. You don't have to offer anything, but I would say look at it more as a marketing fee. You want to definitely make your home attractive, and some buyers won't be able to, cover the cost of course. They're going all in trying to just get the house. And a lot of sellers are okay with that. All of my sellers are trying to, except for one, all of my sellers are trying to work the system a little bit and come in lower on the commission, the initial commission, but the buyer's agents are turning in their F-259 form, which is the broker compensation agreement. So most sellers are still coming to the table with 3% in most cases, and in some they're not. But I'll give you buyer's agents out there just a little bit of advice from my experience. Don't be don't wait around and see what somebody's going to give you. Go out and get it. Meet your client, show your value proposition on the buyer side, put your fee in there. This is what I'm going to get paid. And if they don't agree to that, then you make a business decision right there. Are you going to work with this client? Okay. But don't be jacking up a deal or working with a client that's not going to pay, or if the seller's not only offering 2% and you feel like you're worth 3%, you should have that written in your agreement. And don't worry about it. We don't ever ask the seller what they're charging. We don't care. We've already got it in our agreement. It's already been agreed upon up front. And so our buyer's agents are going out there with full confidence that they're going to get their 3%. And so that would be my advice there. But that's really how we're handling it. We're prospecting. We're proactive. We really are big on customer service. We have a lot of past sales now, and we have a big visibility on social and Google. And so we just go in with a lot of confidence, and we really haven't missed a beat. We're having a great year.
That's awesome. I love that. So you've been signing buyer broker agreements for 14 years. That's amazing. How were you able to get those signed when other agents weren't required? Now they're easy to sign, right? Because we're all required to sign them. I'm sorry, I cannot show you the property without this agreement. But getting those signed when nobody else was asking, that's amazing. How were you able to overcome that? And have you had buyers say, well, nobody else is asking me to sign one?
Well, we overcame it because of trial and error, right? Failing forward, failing fast. So we figured out a long time ago that you can cart, before they changed the rules, you could cart a buyer around and drive them around and spend all your nights and weekends showing them, and they may not buy a house. And it's all that time's for nothing. Or you may take them to a house and they have a friend they were really going to use the whole time, and they use them and you get burned. It only takes once or twice of that happening to you realize, I'm not going to do this again until I get an agreement. So we made, and it's been standard policy on my team for, probably close to 14 years, that you do not put a buyer in the car. We'll meet them one time at a Starbucks or at the property once, and show them before they changed. Of course, we can't do that now, but we would meet them one time. And after that, they had to sign a buyer's brokerage agreement. If they didn't want to sign one, then we just didn't pursue it. We would follow up with them, but we wouldn't put them in the car and drive around, because if they're not going to commit to you in the beginning, they're going to flake on you at some point in the process. And so we would rather work with less buyers that were ready to go, qualified, than a whole bunch of them that are just dragging us around and wasting all of our time. And second part of your question, I believe, was how are we getting this done now when other agents aren't doing it? We're just the same thing, where nothing's changed. We're saying, listen, this is our value proposition, and this is what we're going to do for you, and this is how we're going to help you. And we talk about a lot of things about how we're going to save them, could save them thousands of dollars in, the home inspection, and save them on price, and get them, some closing costs, and just all the things that we're good at. But if they say no, well, I just tell them, look, any agent that takes you out and shows you a property without signing one of these, now it's a violation, and they're doing something unethical. So I would think twice before getting into business with them. But our policy is that we're going to follow the rules, and you have to sign this. And if you don't want to sign this, we understand. You may not be ready to commit, and that's fine. We're looking to help people that are ready to go, and that's where we thrive. And we don't have any problem getting them signed. I think we've had maybe, we probably signed 30, 40 agreements, and maybe had one or two people say they didn't want to do it. But other than that, we're really not having a problem. And if anybody's, let me repeat to y'all sitting out there, if anybody does give you some pushback and say, I'm not going to sign that, move on. Go find another buyer. Keep prospecting every day. Keep doing your marketing. Go find someone else. There's plenty of people out there to work with. So we just don't worry about it. We're just business as usual. We'll just keep on trucking.
Right. But the key is having enough leads in your funnel to where you're able to say no. What I see is agents have very few people that they're working with, to where they feel like they're losing something that they really never even had. So I love that. There's plenty of fish in the sea, right? So
I'd like to add something to that. So what you just said, a lot of buyers, agents, a lot of newer agents, they don't have a big pipeline. They don't have a bunch of past clients, and they don't have a lot of leads coming in. So they get, they're a little more, oh my gosh, I got to have this. And if you teach yourself, you want to set your business up now like you're doing 100 units a year. And are you going to have the time, energy, and patience to deal with people that aren't ready? And you've got to get really good at your qualifying and really good at your presentation so you're confident that you may not take 15 buyers, and you may only work with 7. I'd rather work with 7 a year, or 5 that are solid, that want to do it. And because they're going to run you all over town and use you when they really may have another agent in line, or they want you to show them houses. So don't think scarcity, think abundance. Think you're growing a huge business, and you're going to do it from the ground up the right way. You don't have to be somebody's taxi driver all day long. You're a business person, and just present yourself like that and think like that.
Agreed. And quality leads over quantity sometimes is better.
Yes, always.
Another thing to add to that too is EXP is the only brokerage that created like single property forms. So for those of you doing paid leads, like Zillow leads, it's kind of difficult to get them to sign a 3-6 month year contract on a normal buyer agency agreement. EXP actually, before the NAR settlement even was done, gave us single property forms. So when somebody's like, I'm not going to sign that, it's like, well, hey, legally I have to have you sign this. This one is just for this property. To get you in the door, we got to sign this. And usually on cold leads like that, or not cold leads, but leads you don't know, it's easier to get them to sign a single property one just to build that rapport, and then do a buyer consultation after that, to where they sign the 3-6 month or a year one. But I know a lot of people probably don't even know that we have a single property one.
Right. Absolutely. And I agree with that. I don't think it's fair to ask someone to sign a 3-month listing or 3-month contract when they haven't even met you, and they're just calling on seeing that one particular property. So you have to have that consultation and show why they should sign with you. Leo, anything to add to that?
Yes. Listening to all the answers, I actually just thinking about the process that we implemented with all the changes and everything. We all the of the 7 years that we've been doing real estate, the first four, for anybody who has in the audience right there, the first 4 years, it was literally just hustling, learning as much as we could, and trying to be the most knowledgeable agent that we could be. The reason I say that is because what happened to us is we end up creating a community on Instagram where we post educational information and we post educational videos about the process of buying a house. And then we come around, and every single closing we have a specific type of post that we put out there, which is basically telling the story of that client. And then we post a picture of them signing documents and doing all these things. Why do we do it that way? Because we became agents who attract the buyers or the sellers that want to work with us rather than going after them. Now, that allowed us to pretty much eliminate the physical office. We don't have any physical office. Every single meeting we do is through a Calendly link on our Instagram. The clients come, watch the videos, book the call. We are averaging about 30 calls, Zoom calls per month. And that's because we are blocking the calendar, certain spots, certain days. We have to block them, otherwise, they get filled up. So that's what we changed when this whole thing started, especially when it was COVID. We had to come up with something. And by the time the change happened with NAR settlements and stuff like that, we already had the whole thing in place. So before we even meet the client in person on a house or something, we already had that meeting with them on a Zoom call, and we send them the documentation via DocuSign for them to sign, or any other tool that you may have. And we are not even driving them around. Now, I say this also recognizing that it's different on each market, but I'm just showing the different ways that we can all adjust to accomplish the same task, which is provide the best experience, be in compliance with all the regulations that we have to be. But at the same time, we all understand and know that time is the most valuable thing we have. If we are literally showing houses and driving around with a client that doesn't have a commitment with us, it's a disservice that we are doing to every other client that we could be helping. So I don't even look at this as like, oh, it's good or bad. I'm just thinking like, how can I give the best experience to the most amount of clients that I can? And that's by guarding my time. In order to do that, the agreement had to be signed before we even meet in person. If they're not willing to do that, then it's more than 17,000 agents in Massachusetts. They could work with any other agent. So if they are coming to us, we explain to them how we work and why they see the stories of the clients that worked with us. And because we focused on our community, everybody knows us. So it became a very good magnet of leads that way.
So you're the go-to. I love what you said, and I am going to start following you on social media to see what you're doing with your community, because creating that story and the entire experience and educational is what I'm striving to do. So I just want to say how amazing this community is. 23 years in the business, and I am still learning, which is
Yes.
incredible. So thank you all for sharing. I do want to skip down to one question that I'm going to take my questions out of order, but one thing that I am struggling and always wanting to do, and I just don't do, is networking events. We all know that it can grow our business. Do you host any networking events with agents with agents within and from outside the brokerage? And also, I want to ask about, do you host client events? And I think it was Mike or Jeff that mentioned you do client events. Can you tell us about that? Do you do networking events for agents or clients?
Hey, go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. So for us, we do events, not actually an event, but we do something for our clients every year. And this is something that if you follow us, by the way, if you're going to follow, you need to follow Mary Ribeiro Realtor. It's not under my name. So it's a marketing strategy there. I put my wife's face over there, not mine. But what we do, one, we always give them a gift, right? What is that gift? It's a frame with a picture of a tree, and to make the leaves, we put the names of the family. So for you to understand this, our avatar is married couples with kids buying a house for the first time, right? Do I have anything like do I help anybody else? Yes, we help everybody else, but we don't spend any effort marketing to anybody else other than um married couples with kids buying the house for the first time. Why do we chose that client avatar? Because that was us. That's our family. That's the experience we had buying a house, which was not great. So the experience that we had, we decided to transform and create a better experience and provide that to the families. So even the gift is personalized with the name of their family, sometimes even the name of the dogs as well. But here's the key: there is no business card, there's no name on that picture about us. But every single person who goes inside of a house that see that picture frame, they recognize who gave it to them. So the other thing that we do is every year, at the end of the year, we personally drive to every single client that we sold the house that year, and we deliver something personally. And we go back to see how they are doing after moved in and all that stuff. That creates a very good communication and community with the clients. For the agents, we tried to create a community with agents, but we realized we had to choose because of time. If we focus on helping agents, we can't provide the same amount of or the same level of service to the clients. So it was one of these battles that you have to do in your mind of who to help, where to go with your time. We chose to go with the clients for the time being. But now, as we are growing with the experience, I'm pretty sure in the future we will be able to create community for agents, and probably, if anybody wants to learn, we'll probably have some type of courses that we can give on what we did to get there.
That's beautiful. Mike, Jeff, thank you. Started to add to that. Client events for agent.
So yeah, we do all the above. When we do clients, so we do like this month and Thanksgiving, November, every Thanksgiving, we reach out to our past clients. We just sent out the email today in constant contact. It goes to 1,200 plus people. And we ask them to nominate somebody that needs a Thanksgiving dinner that they may not be able to do it. Their can't be with their family, or they don't have the means or something. And then we buy a Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel does a great Thanksgiving dinner. You can buy a whole package, and we buy it for them whatever city they're in. And we usually get 3 or 4 people that respond, and it's a great way to give it back to the community. But that's one touch. We do a coat drive in October. We do sponsor a family in December, but we also do events through the year, big ones where we're getting in touch in front of them, like the Atlanta Braves baseball team down here. We have like an opening day, or usually opening day or one of the games right around there. We'll get a lender and a closing attorney and a home warranty person to help us pay for it. And we'll have an event, and we'll invite 1,000 people, and maybe 100 show up, 70, 80, 100 show up. So we do events through the year. As far as agents for attraction, we do events as well. We do panels where we'll, bring, I'll reach out to 3 or 4 top producer, big agents in the area, and we'll put them on a panel and interview them. We also do. We brought an AI guy in there. Phil Stringer, who's with EXP, he came, did a couple of AI events for us. We had 75 people at each one of those. So we're actually doing events for attraction and doing events for our client database. And then the one last thing, during the holidays, I do what's called holiday cheer. And holiday cheer, Costco, which I'll go this weekend, I get about 75 things of cookies and popcorn and just little, kind of tchotchke, and put them in a little bag. And then I put them in my car in a crate, and I'll go deliver those to people's houses throughout the month of November. And I'll probably drop anywhere from 50 to 70. And sometimes I have one of my agents help me do that just for time. But we do that a lot of outreach, and we touch our clients' database a lot. And, probably, at least half of our business, if not a little bit more, comes from our past clients. So it's a really good thing to do. And start that now. Don't wait till you got a bunch of people in your database. Start with your 5 or 6 past clients you have now. It's easier that way and less expensive. But make sure you're doing those touches and inviting them to things, and piggybacking off other agents and other things and other events. You can easily get 4 or 5 agents together, and you can rent out or purchase a section in a baseball stadium, and it's probably ends up being $10 or $12 a ticket, $13 a ticket. But if you got 5 agents doing it, and y'all have 100 people in your database, you could literally make it look like it's a company thing, and they wouldn't really know it wasn't yours. They just see all the people there and think they're all your people. So there's a lot of things you can do, but we try to stay consistent with it.
That's awesome. Wow. But that is impressive. You sure do a lot. But I do love the consistency. Mike and Leo, did you want to add to that? Or no, Jeff, we haven't heard from Jeff on the topic.
Yeah, I'll add to that. So this is somewhere where we lack on our side that I hadn't done. The one thing that we do is a Christmas ornament, which one of our agents found through Etsy. And so like every time we close, especially like a buyer in KV then we would just put a hashtag like Christmas gift 2024 on it. And then hopefully you're putting in all the information, so it has their addresses, everything, and your admin or you can real quick make a list of everybody to order that Christmas gift for. And it's like a little ornament that says something about, it's like I got a key and your first Christmas and your new home. And then I'll deliver those out. But I was just this morning, I'm going through the Honey Badgers recruiting stuff. I don't know how many of you guys have gone through that, but Albie Stasak was recording a video in it. And he said that for new agents and what he did and where he went wrong, and it's exactly what I had done, was we felt like those networking events, those the board meetups, anything like that is for us, when we started off, it was like, that's a waste of time. I'm not getting clients or deals from those. Those are a waste of time. And he was saying like, if he could go back, that's what he would change. Going to those board events, and even when title or a lender is holding something and it's just going to be a bunch of realtors, those are the events that we really need to go to and build those relationships. If recruiting is anything in your mindset to do, and that was exactly what I was like, which that had triggered for me a little while ago. So I've taught the team to not be like I was, and hopefully they all learn from that. And I don't know who's in the crowd here, but never feel like those events are waste of your time, because any one of them could be the next person in your downline.
I agree. And even if it's not for recruiting purposes, just building relationships with agents, they will, when they see your offer come through versus another one, they might pay closer attention to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyone else want to add to the topic? Events?
I do. You know what? Something that we really did for our first time, we did like a couple of weeks ago, what we call an international real estate expo, where we invite agents from ESP from other parts of the world. Like, for example, we invite somebody from Punta Cana, somebody from Calgary, Mexico, whatever. And so we created in a big place, we put different stands, one for each of the countries, each of the places. And because it was our first time doing it, we invite them for free to be like the representative for each of the places. Okay. And then, of course, we have presentations in a main stage. And it was good because what was the idea? It was to help them to be present. And also at the same time, the agreement was that if we got some clients interested, because it was people coming, we did lead campaigns to invite people to come to the event. And the idea was that if somebody get a client from the event, that they will have to be used as a referral, no? Like, it's not, okay, now I got this, sorry, you got it for free. I pay for all the event and for all of the expo. So yes, let's go and do an agreement. So if we get a client through this expo, you get 50% and I get 50%. If later on you get somebody else through your campaign, that's different. But if they come to our campaigns or to our event, that's the agreement. And it was very successful. We were expecting at most 100 people, and finally we ended up having like 280 people coming to the event. So that was very successful. And now, very important for you guys, we paid a photographer, a videographer to be recording everything and to create a video for marketing purposes. So next year, when we are gonna do it again, no one, but twice a year maybe, we have already a video that we can get sponsors for the event. So tell, you want to sponsor? Okay, here is how it was last year. So you can sponsor me, because now they will see that it was successful. They will see that it was a lot of people. Because this year we were kind of feeling like, how do we ask for sponsors if they don't even know how it's gonna be, no? But next year we can have that for sure. That's regarding the network with realtors. And regarding the clients, something that I always get good comments from my clients when they close either a purchase or a sale. Of course, not for leases, but for purchases and sales. I give them a gift, which is a Google Home. You know what is a Google Home? It's like a screen display, not the speaker, the display. That's a little display, which is about like $100, $90, something like that. Because I believe before I used to give them like a bottle of champagne with 2 glasses and blah, blah, blah. But they drink it and then they put it in the garbage. However, a Google Home, they will keep it in their kitchen, in their bedroom or whatever. And every time that somebody comes, they, oh, look at that. How do you get it? And, oh, my realtor gave it to me. So that's a very good gift. And because it's technological and it's nice and they always will see it there, they always remind us. So that's just a piece of advice.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, anyone else want to add to that topic before we wrap up? We are close to our time. Okay. Anything else anyone would like to add? And one other question that I wanted to ask: when we hit it, because we're faced with all sorts of challenges in the business, when you hit a wall, where do you turn to get back on track?
All right. For us, we turn to our faith. We are big on that. But most for work, it's our coach and the communities we have inside of EXP. It's like when you hit a wall, you can't think that you're going to figure everything by yourself. You need to have support. So EXP has lots of groups, has lots of communities. I'm pretty sure you can find one that you can fit in. And if you have a wall in front of you, doesn't matter what it is, talk to somebody. It's the best thing you can do.
Okay. Like your suicide hotline, right? Who do you go to? Yeah, I totally agree with that. And one of the things that I think about when things slow down, or I think, things are getting tough, I look at, or things are slow or whatever may be, I always look at, as long as people are buying and selling, I just want my fair share. For example, when COVID happened, I think, everyone was kind of in a shock. It's like, what's happening? And I started tracking on a daily basis, weekly basis, how many transactions were happening in the MLS. And that was such an encouraging thing that, for me, because I was like, okay, so there's been 20 transactions in my city, or, 5 actives or whatever, however many pendings. How many of those can I get? So as long as business is happening, we just have to figure out how to go out and get it. All right. Before we wrap up, anything else anyone wants to add?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit on EXPCon. I don't know how many people go to that, and that's kind of one thing. If you're planning enough of those events, like you'll start to get burnt out. You go to an event like this and it lights your fire for, so long. And then EXP has build events and regional rallies. You can time all those out to keep that kind of lighting your fire. But EXPCon, if you're not going to it, you should be. If you're building a team, what we kind of do is, like, in onboarding, we kind of say it's one of our team events. Like, we're all going to EXPCon. It's a team trip that you should be going on. And it's so broad that you can have completely different goals on what you want out of it, and everybody can achieve those goals. So newer agents, it can be purely education. Higher level team leaders, it can be proximity. And if you prep for it and make it part of your team dynamic and culture, then your agents will get so much out of it and your team will flourish for it. So if you're not going to EXPCon or events like that, you really, really should be.
Awesome. Wow. I am impressed with, I was taking a bunch of notes. So thank you everyone for contributing. I absolutely love the collaboration and just openly sharing. Like I mentioned, I've been at a couple of other companies before EXP, and no other company have I seen people open their playbook and just show us everything they're doing. Thank you so much.